All right. Well, good evening. Welcome to the library board meeting for April 16th, 2019. It's 5:06 p.m. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. May I have roll call, please?
Aaron.
Here.
Tracy.
Here.
Barb.
Here.
Camille.
Here.
Tony.
Here.
Gail.
Here.
And Alderman Kapusta, Robin, and Jordan are absent.
All right, thank you. Consent agenda. Looks like we have 2 items as a part of that agenda this evening. Item number 1 being the approval of minutes from the March 19th, 20...
Yeah, you missed the statement of public notice. I don't know if
I did.
You must be in a hurry.
Thank you. Yes.
I think
Statement of public notice before we go on. Statement of public notice. Kind of important.
I'm sorry. We're doing great. We're doing great, Aaron. I believe in us. This meeting was noticed in accordance with the open meeting law.
Thank you. And I'm not seeing anyone from the general public this evening, so no public comment. All right, consent agenda. Now that we have legalities done away with. So consent agenda looks like 2 items this evening. Approval of minutes from the March 19th, 2019 meeting. And then to place on file the library financial reports for the month of March of 2019. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda, please.
I motion.
Tracy, thank you. Is there a second on that?
I'll second.
Camille, thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? All right, motion carries. That consent agenda is approved. Thank you. President's report. I'd like to take a couple moments out this evening just to thank 2 board members for their service. Robin, you entered at the perfect time here. Welcome back. I understand Robin is not renewing for the next term. So I have the certificate of service here to present to you, as well as Alderman Kapusta, who is not here this evening. So we'll make sure that we get his certificate here to him. But Robin, thank you for your service. Greatly appreciated. You were certainly a dedicated board member.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So there you are.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robin.
Speech.
How long have you been on the board?
Just the 3 years.
Well, life gets busy.
It does.
Or is busy.
Yeah,
It
I
is.
decided. It took me a while to decide, and ultimately it just came to time. As you can see, I just, husband gets home, and I go right in the car, and I shoot off, and
Yeah.
it's just really
It's hard to get little ones.
Understandable.
Yeah, you got young ones.
But yes, thank you. It's been a sincere pleasure working with you the last 3 years, and you've done a lot for us. So that concludes my president's report.
Thank you.
So director's report.
All right. Happy, beautiful day, everyone.
Fine.
Okay, here we go. Let's see. Anything I want to highlight? We have the retirement classroom coming back with Medicare programs, Social Security programs. I always like to really plug those, spread those far and wide, because I know how difficult those topics can be, and so I know a lot of people can sometimes be looking for where they can get information about that, so they can certainly come here. We're having free memory screenings, although I don't remember the date, admittedly.
Memory
That's
screen.
kind of ironic.
It is, and that wasn't even intentional. Let's see. National Library Week was this past week, and we had patron scratch-off tickets when they would check out, and it was really cool because the adults, when they would check out, they wouldn't win every time, just like in real life as adults. But they did win a variety of prizes, and the kids, don't tell them, but all of them were winners. All the scratch-offs, they got a little toy
cool.
or a snack or something, and so that was really cool to be able to, show our appreciation for them and their arrival. The
Where
friends
did you
do.
get the scratch cards made?
Amanda made them. Our
Oh,
teen
you're
librarian.
kidding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can buy the little like gray discs, and then you just print off the cards and you apply the gray scratch off disc.
Because that's
Oh.
not an inexpensive endeavor. So
Yeah,
you
it-
made them instead.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that was
Wow,
that was cool.
that's pretty cool.
I would say the only downside was we had to clean off the desk a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely scratch off stuff. It's kind of annoying, but anyway, it was fun. Let's see. They did slime time again for the children's program, so that continues to be very popular. We've enrolled over 100 school-age children now in our 500 Books Before 15 program, so that's really great. It's clearly shown a need there, so we're excited to offer that. Amanda had a teen focus group to get feedback from them. We have a PEEP scavenger hunt for the teens. 'Tis the season. And our escape room is now open for, I think it's 4th through 12th graders and their families too, certainly. So it's a camping theme, so people are trapped at a campsite and they have to figure their way out. And so we already have a lot of signups, but spread the word about that.
That's great.
They won't be able to test it on me this time, but I'm a very low threshold because I'm very bad at problem solving things. So I never think they want to test on me anyway. But yeah, so we're excited to offer that again to the families over the spring break. Other updates. The next board meeting is May 21st. Most likely I will be out at the end of May. The doctor said that it could potentially be as early as the 23rd through the 28th, so we just have to hold on so I can make it through the 21st board meeting. So let's all just chant that in our heads together. Strategic planning. I've had 12 one-on-one interviews with community members to nonprofits. I have held 9 focus groups that spoke with 61 people, ranging from senior living facilities, teens, play and parent groups. I have even more coming up. Those numbers will continue to grow as I finish up my one-on-one interviews and focus groups. So looking forward to continued feedback. April and May, that's when the community survey and feedback boards will run.
May I ask you a question?
Of course.
Can I interrupt? How are you, with you being gone,
Mm-hmm.
how are you going to collate all this information, and when will it be available, all of those kinds of things?
I don't have the framework. That was, I can't remember what board meeting I showed that. But if I recall correctly, I do remember what I said, which was the information is just going to simmer while I'm gone.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep. And so when I get back in early to mid-August, that's going to be my priority, is to gather all the data together, analyze it, and then bring it before strategic planning and then the full board. So really what we have to do is have the strategic plan in place for January 1st, 2020, which means that sort of the drop-dead deadline for when we want to approve that would be at the December board meeting. So basically when I come back in August, I'll have the rest of August, September, October, and November to build the report and show it to the board.
Okay. So potentially, I don't know if you want me to add it again, I mean, there's going to be a lot of work in fall, it looks like.
There's going to be a lot of work in fall. That will absolutely be my priority. So. We have a dementia training grant. I've been in conversation with some libraries in Illinois who are working to get a, please don't ask me what that acronym is.
I was just actually going to ask you too, so
Please don't.
Never mind.
I don't remember. But it's a training grant for staff dementia training. So to make staff members.
You know how something tickles your funny bone? I said reading staff dementia training.
Oh.
So what does that mean about the staff? I know. It's nothing to joke about, but it's just, like when you read that silly billboard and
Yes,
the words
yes,
come out wrong,
absolutely.
it was just kind of like,
No.
okay, are you keeping something from us here or what?
Staff training for dementia sensitivity and
Of
support.
course.
So if the grant is awarded, then we will most likely be the be hosting a training site at our library. So that's very exciting, and of course would give our staff easy access to that training. So
Sure.
looking forward to.
And when you say hosting it, meaning would that be the whole Bridges system, or what is that?
It would be whoever. So yeah, the Bridges system would be invited. So
That's pretty great.
yeah, so I'm hopeful that the grant gets approved. Last year we tried the same thing and they ran out of money. So hopefully this year we have some better luck. We also have our system applied for a technology grant, and so we're going to benefit from that. It receives staff training on technology security awareness, so just making sure that we're not falling victim to phishing scams and various other technology security issues. So we will be benefiting from that grant as well. I mentioned at the last meeting we have an in-service day. It's a half day on May 3rd for staff training. This is something that I really wanted to get done before I left. Last year, one of the things that I could not squeeze in was an in-service day, and that was something I was not happy about, or I was disappointed in myself that I didn't get that done. So this will be a good opportunity for us. We will open at 12:30, so that will still give people, as a Friday, a chance to come in and get their stuff. And we'll certainly communicate that every way we can.
NNLM is the National Network of Libraries of Medicine.
Libraries
Network of
medicine.
Libraries of
Medicine.
Medicine. Interesting.
I would not have even guessed that. Thank you. Hopefully they give us money. Whoever they are.
It looks like it's a governmental type.
Okay.
National Network of Lots of Money. Let's hope that's what it stands
Lots
for.
of money.
Lots of money.
There had been a question at the last meeting about what the Friends are doing for fundraisers, so we did have a meeting a couple weeks ago. There's going to be a greeting card sale, which they've done in years past, in a few weeks. The display is going to be right across from the circulation desk, so spread the word about that. They're going to be planning a Culver's night, so if you like Culver's, may I recommend a specific night? I'll email you when that is. I haven't picked it yet. They're also going to be doing a pre-owned art sale, so they're going to be collecting art that maybe you've had it in your basement or it's on the wall of your bathroom and you're like, I'm renovating my bathroom anyway, so these don't work anymore. And then they're going to be selling it as a pre-owned art sale. So very excited about that. They'll be advertising that shortly. For continuing education, Abby spoke at WEMPTA recently, and Jane attended a workshop on personnel support. So that's really cool. Like that they're getting out there and communicating with others in their field. I am going to an all-day meeting in Portage on Thursday. I was accepted on the State Superintendent's Library Services and Technology Act Committee, so I'm going to be helping the DPI give advice about that IMLS grant, so that big grant. So I'm excited to give my feedback. I like giving feedback to people, so looking forward to that, because we do benefit from the LSTA funds, as you can see from the letter D. That technology grant was LSTA funds, so looking forward to contributing in that way. We have some employee anniversaries coming up. 19 years, 2 years, and 1 year. And that is my report.
Easy.
Any questions? Concerns? All right. Thank you, Brittany. Unfinished business. Looks like we have none. So we'll get into new business. A few points on the agenda this evening. Let's start out with item number 1, discussion and possible action on the library 2020 capital budget. Brittany.
All right. So if we look at packet page 17, you will see the document that I showed you at the last meeting when we were just discussing. And so these numbers are the same as last time. If you recall, though, I had given you verbally some updated numbers on the carpeting since I had gotten the quote after the packet came through. And certainly the number is a placeholder based on our most recent lowest bidder for carpet. But when we do that project, of course, we will go through the 3-bid process and make sure that we have the best pricing possible. And like I said, Brookfield Public Library is doing a major carpeting project right now, so I'm planning on going over there and talking to them about how they made sure the project was cost effective and whatnot. So these are just anticipated projects right now. Certainly it's a 5-year plan, so things change, and certainly with our strategic plan we could potentially see some alterations to this, but our best estimates as of now.
Just looking at the large expense in 2021 for the carpet and flooring, that also makes me think about demands on staff to move things around and whatever. Is this, forgive me for not remembering, but is this what was in like the strategic plan and what the plan was for carpeting all along? This just happens to be the number, because obviously I don't recognize this number.
Yep. So the
So the amount of things you'd have to do are the same.
sure.
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
Yes, correct. The strategic plan, our current 3-year strategic plan, has talked about carpeting upgrades, although it didn't specifically say what for which areas. So we've started doing it. We did the back staff area where we're going to be doing the meeting rooms this year, and so we're the carpet is about 19. It'll be 21 years old by the time we get to 2021. So it's definitely time to do it. So yeah, it's part of the plan. Now you're right, that number doesn't look familiar, because if you think about previous 5-year capital plans, that was just a placeholder number. It was a really basic estimate. So as we get closer, I try to get even more concrete numbers. It takes time to get bids and get people out here, so I don't, I want to give estimates when they're further out, and I want to give much more concrete numbers the closer we get. So this number is.
Do you remember offhand what's included in there? And if you don't remember, that's okay. I'm just concerned. I know how much work the children's area was to move those stacks and all that kind of thing. I just want to, and I'm sure you have figured this part out, but that's a frightening thought, depending on how. That's a lot of carpet too. I mean, where is it all going?
Well, for 2021, that's the rest of the
main area.
Yep. The
Okay,
main area.
that's why.
So really,
okay. So that isn't so bad then.
Yeah, it's the whole rest of the area, minus 2022, that's 6,568, which is the back circulation area. But otherwise, it's everything else.
That waits for obvious reasons.
For the
you don't know what all is
circulation.
coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then that shouldn't be such a big strain on staff then.
Well, so this number includes the big area of carpet, and then I did add the cost of shelf movers. If you recall, there was that $20,000 to lift up the shelves without having to take the books off of it. So again, we wouldn't necessarily have to do that. So then you have to weigh the amount you're paying staff to move all those books versus that cost. And like I said, I do plan on getting 3 quotes, and minus 20,000, and you'll get what the carpeting would be if we decided to move everything manually. So that's a decision as I talk with the Brookfield Public Library and ask them what benefits they got from their shelf raisers versus not doing it. That number may change, but in theory it shouldn't be more than that.
Okay, on the storage shed, you sure you want to defer it that long for that amount?
Yeah, I do. Really, if I'm looking at 2021 and 2022 have high cost to them. And I think those are the projects we definitely need to get done. I would like to do the bathrooms before the storage shed. Right now we're making do. Anytime we can reclaim space, it's a good thing. And again, who knows? When the strategic plan hits, we're going to be learning a lot about what we need to do. So as of now, I don't have a reason to move that further up. That's just sort of a wishful thinking thing, but
I'm just saying that could be a really successful fundraiser, I guess, that, more than moving it up. But it sounds like the demand isn't. You're just
I just think it'd be a great Eagle Scout.
Yeah.
Well, and as you
we
said,
talked about
and that's from a capital request perspective, that's actually why I kind of want to push it out, because there's a potential that we could either fundraise for it or have it be a project. So
for materials, for an example.
yeah, and this is just a really new idea that we've talked about as of recently. So I see no reason to rush it,
Or make
given
bigger
that
one.
there's
Mhm.
yeah.
Would you know offhand, based on where you're gonna put it and what the size of it might be?
I talked to my maintenance department because, of course, he's the one who would be storing a lot of his materials there, and so that pricing, I don't remember the dimensions, reflects the dimensions that,
And then where would it be then, curious?
and that, once I get closer to that date, I think that I would start
And
planning a
one
little
size,
bit
yeah.
more.
Okay.
I talked to the high school gentleman who does the tiny houses, the
Oh, okay.
sheds and all that,
Yeah.
and he said they'd be very willing to work with you.
Oh, very
Pay
cool.
for
Yeah,
the
that's great.
supplies, but
Yeah.
definitely.
So there is no rush on that shed then, because I have a lot of things to explore with it, and so that's a good thing. So you said the school, okay. Yep. Anything else about the capital plan? If not, then I'm looking for a vote to approve it so that I can send it on to the city.
I motion.
No motion, thank you. Is there a second on that?
I'll second.
Barb, thank you. Your second. Any further discussion, questions?
Sorry, should have waited till after the motion.
Well, no, that's okay. I mean, do you have?
Your discussion is supposed to happen after the motion is made. It's not a biggie.
Okay.
No, just ask for the vote.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? All right, motion carries. That vote is approved. Thank you. Moving along, yes.
Well, I was just gonna add, so I was at the school board just had a representative that came from the Wisconsin big school board committee, and he said if ever you're doing bigger items, that you should almost do a head count or a vote count.
Oh, yeah, by
when you're
person.
doing, so then no one abstained and didn't say aye, because you can't tell when you say aye and everybody's saying
So
it
you
at
want
the
to,
same
yeah.
time.
Mhm.
So I don't know, I mean,
Sure,
do you
like
do
a
a
roll call
budget
vote instead of a
items? I'm
voice
like,
vote. Yeah.
I don't know, but that's just something to think about.
That's
Just
something to
because he
think
said
about.
it legality-wise, it'll be a stronger argument
Hmm.
afterwards, if you do have that.
Yeah, because I suppose somebody could say after, well, I didn't say anything.
Right,
Right.
that's what he was saying, that does happen.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah,
wow.
because
Wow.
you don't really,
Mhm.
it's just a group,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
So you're upset, he said actually one of the things that you could get around is the abstention vote, because that way you are including people who didn't say either or. So you were smart to do that when you were doing it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I guess so. Wow. All right.
A little bit of information.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
things to
especially on
take-
contentious issues, for an example. I
Correct,
mean, they're better off to
yeah.
do the roll call vote instead of the voice vote.
Right,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I've seen city council, they have some new technology that they
Yeah,
have
it's up on
to
the board
ping in.
now,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
We don't
interesting.
have that here.
We don't.
And we don't have that at the school board either.
It is pretty, it does avoid that.
Right,
So,
yeah, right.
All right.
Okay, well, we all gotta
Yeah.
remember that the next time.
Right, things to definitely take
Makes a lot of sense.
in mind. Mhm. All right. So item number 2, a discussion, possible action on the 2020 operating budget.
All right, packet page 18. So this is also the same document that you saw last time that we discussed. The only change that I made since last time is sort of at the middle of the pack, electronic materials. I had to increase that request, or on that line item, a little bit. Before it was just inflation I was planning for, which is still true. But I did talk with the library system because they've been slowly shifting some things that they used to cover in relation to materials, electronic materials, over to the individual libraries. And there's a little bit more of that being planned. The reason why they're doing that, and it's a very smart reason, it's not a good idea to rely on a system to cover material costs, because if the system were ever to be disbanded or go away, you wouldn't want your library to have been reliant on funding for something as basic as materials.
Okay.
Certainly, then we'd have to look at, if funding from the system went away, we'd have to look at other ways to make cuts, but materials, sort of that core baseline, that would be a mistake. So it's not like they're cutting funding to us, they're just doing the funding a different way, more programming related. They fund like speakers.
So they're
and
not
things.
going to have a surplus of
No,
monies.
no, they're not
Yes.
going to have a surplus of monies. They're just shifting it from materials to other program and stuff related tasks. So we're probably saving money in programming, but because of that. So anyway, that was the only slight difference. Everything else is the same.
And the GIB contract is the current cleaning service?
Correct.
Okay.
And as the capital budget is going to stand as is, the only thing I would ask when the library board votes is that if you do vote to approve it, that you approve it based on the understanding, if you remember that asterisk, that the
Right.
the top chunk, the salary and wages, is provided by Human Resources. They don't do that until July. So approving, knowing that Human Resources will supply 2020 numbers, so they'll alter that using their math depending upon what they would need.
And I assume that they kind of let you know if there's a major increase coming? Because, I mean, health insurance and everything we all know is
Yes.
always a big question mark. So, like, let's say they get a 10% increase. I mean, would they let you know ahead of time? And then if they did, then what would we do?
That's a good question. I think that
Let's hope it doesn't happen.
let's
I would
hope it doesn't
think
happen.
because that's just a couple months away, that's a pretty big change to make, that you know much further in advance from.
They just
Because
locked
I would
in.
think they'd have some idea,
Yeah.
at least if a big one increase
Right.
was coming.
Exactly.
If they were switching carriers or
Right.
They
you know,
just
whatever.
switched carriers in 2018, so I think
Okay.
they're pretty locked in for
Okay.
that. So I'm
So
not.
chances are.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's gonna go up, it's just gonna most likely just be your standard
Yeah.
going up as it does every year.
Now, that number, and forgive me, I asked you this, I think, the last time, will be a bit higher because of your increase, correct? And then,
Not for 2020. So the big increase, if you look at 2018 to 2019, that's where you see the jump from the salary study.
Yeah,
So-
it happened in 2019.
Yeah.
right?
So in 2018, the salary
that's
study
right,
had not
'cause
gone to effect.
The study was done in 18.
Correct.
Right.
Got it.
So
Yeah.
that same
That's what.
salary and wages jump is not going to occur again
Right.
from 2019 to 2020. That would be crazy if it did.
Now that I asked, my apologies.
I would have a permanent smile on my face.
Doesn't mean you. So what would you like us to do with this information at this point?
I would ask for a vote for the operating budget to be approved with the understanding.
With the contingency.
Yep.
All right, I'll make the motion to approve the Library 2020 operating budget contingent on the HR numbers coming in.
Gail, thank you. Is there a second on that?
I'll second.
Camille, thank you. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. That motion
This
is
a big
approved.
one. So should we have done a voice vote?
Great, thank you. Let's see, next up, discussion item number 3 with possible action, the allowable cost worksheet.
All right, packet page 19. This is the allowable cost worksheet is something that the library board approves it needs to approve every year. It's basically a summary that gets submitted to our system and then onto the state. That's just a summary of revenues, expenditures, And really, all of that shows up in our annual report already, which was approved a couple meetings ago, I think. So it's just sort of a summary sheet for the powers that be higher up in the government. So it just shows the 2018 actuals and then the 2019 adopted budget. So I just pulled, you can see where it pulled from the sections of the annual report.
Okay. Are you able to define allowable cost versus disallowable cost? I mean, I don't, like, why do you, maybe the better question is, why is this put together? Why are these particular items on here? Do you know? And I don't expect you to know, but I thought I would ask.
Yeah, so my understanding of how it's used is that, like I said, we submit it to the system and then it goes, I believe, to the state government. And it's a summary of the revenues and expenditures and what the
It seems
2018...
like it's governmental based. I mean, that's what, how many federal funds did you get? How many state funds did you get?
Yeah, I don't, honestly, off the top of my head, I don't think that there's any... There shouldn't be any surprises because, again, the state report has all this data as
That's
well.
I was wondering why
just,
they have you pull this information out. What's and call it allowable cost? That just is kind of a strange name. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for you on that, but it's nothing that they haven't already seen before. It's just summarized in like a summary cover sheet almost.
It's belong in a report, some other report somewhere.
It's more
or something.
government paperwork.
Yeah, there you
there
go.
may be
Paperwork
no
Reduction Act.
there may be no rhyme or reason here. It's just required.
It might get inserted in some other government report separately or something like that. I suppose too. Anything's possible. Good guess.
So did
Okay.
the 217,760 come from a previous number that you had put in instead of your $1,116.360 because it's like the carpeting?
I'm sorry, where are we looking?
So library capital debit and debit.
Library capital and debt, so towards the bottom. So 217,760 for 2018. That's going to be the children's project, the majority of that. But then also the staff carpeting area, and what was the other capital project? Was that it?
Yeah, furniture.
Yep. Thank you.
Because here it's 374,521. So would they match or?
I'm sorry, where are you getting the 300?
Back to the
So
capital.
your capital plan.
374. So that is, that
These are
column is,
proposed, I know. But
yep. So the number you're looking at, the 217, is for 2018 actuals. So everything on here is 2020 through 2024.
There you go.
So that should
And then
be on
55.5
the
for
operating
20.
budget plan then?
No,
Like where are they pulling that total from?
the 217,760.
Yeah.
So you don't have any 2018 capital numbers in this packet aside from that square right there.
So even the packet, page 18 wouldn't have it? Was that the 18 actual budget?
No, that's just the operating budget.
Yeah, so you'd have to go back and pull the old documentation. And that's where I assume you get it from then.
Yep. So we pull that from the 2018 annual report, section 7, 1, and 2. So yeah.
Public furniture, sealed coating, security cameras for the 55.5 in 2019.
And again, that number is also not here because what you just approved was the 5-year capital plans for 2020 through 2024.
Right, as 2019 is not. I guess we assume they're accurate. If you put them in there and Tracy, anything else?
Yeah, no, I mean, I would probably want to see what those, you know what I mean? Like we're just kind of doing it for hearsay. Like I'd want this, normally see that document, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly pull the annual report. That would have these
Those
numbers, the 2018 numbers, and then the 2019 numbers are going to be in here and in packet page 18 for the 2019, but not for 2018. So certainly in the future I can bring the annual report with so you can compare them.
That's where it's kind of nice, like at the school board thing, we have that board docs. So they'll
Oh,
be like,
sure.
oh, just go here,
Yep.
look here, and there, yeah.
Oh.
We don't really have that capability here.
Yeah, and I did one of my, there's 3 technology projects that I'm trying to plan for in 2019 and 2020, and it involves getting technology in here, so like a TV screen so that we could pull up documents like that right here. I have been looking at tablets. It would cost around $3,000 to get them. So trying to see, if that's feasible as well, and then get some presentation screens in the rest of the meeting rooms as well, so groups can, they're not limited to just meeting room 4. So those are the 3 technology projects I'm hoping for. And again, certainly I can bring that document in the future. I'm hoping we can still approve this today because it's actually due at the end of April, and I'm hoping we don't have to convene again in April. But these numbers, as far as you can trust me, these numbers are pulled straight from the annual report. They're not numbers that I changed or did math to. It's sort of a plug and play scenario. So.
Okay.
Okay, what do you need from us?
An approval of the allowable cost worksheet for 2019.
All right. So at this time, let's entertain a motion to approve that document. Anyone?
I will make a motion to approve.
Camille, thank you. Is there a second on that?
I'll second.
Barb? Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? All right, that motion is approved. The allowable cost worksheet will be signed and sent away. Thank you. Communications and miscellaneous business is authorized by law. I don't have anything. Brittany, anything else this evening?
Just a fun fact that somebody from the census, employed by the government, stopped by and said that they're very low on census takers for Waukesha County. So if you know of anyone who is interested in a position, it's a paid position, they are looking. I'm going to have them come to the library so that they can talk about it to people. There's also, and this is something I didn't know, full-time jobs available. Now they're temporary positions, but if you know of anyone who is like, they really want an IT manager role, a recruiting manager, census field manager, like these are really professional positions and good experience, but it's temporary. So if you know of anyone,
Do they pay health insurance?
That's a good question. I don't know. Census.gov/field jobs. So anyway, so I just wanted to let you know about that. Also, there are yard signs over there where we had a group stop by about awareness of underage drinking and parties at homes. So if you are interested in one of those yard signs, please feel free to grab one as well, and that's all I have.
All right. Well, thank you. At this time, let's entertain
I just had
him.
one quick thing.
Yeah,
actually.
Robin.
I just noticed, like Waukesha and Muskego had a really cool thing that they're doing right now is where you show your library card. I think we talked about this previously, like years back. I just thought it was a good way to include the community. If you show your library card to a business, you get like a percentage off.
I really want to
It's
do
really
that.
popping up everywhere, so it's.
Who's doing that? McGuanago, you said?
McGuanago and Waukesha Public Library.
Yes, that
Oh.
is. I haven't started. I have a pre-goal of having a conversation to at least start it with the coffee shop next door,
Yeah.
and see if we can get. If you show your library card, you might get a percentage off. I would. I would love to expand it to more.
If you can get that
So.
one person, then you got your
Mhm.
leverage
Your
for
hook.
when you go into the other
Yeah.
businesses.
So I'll make a note to talk to McGuanago and Waukesha and see how that's going and what they've done, because I don't want to take advantage of businesses, so it has to be mutually beneficial.
Exactly.
But they've clearly found a way to do it, and so I want to talk to them. So yeah, that's really cool.
Oh. Yeah, thank
I
you.
made a note of that. Thank you.
That might be something to discuss with Chrisanne too at the chamber, as far as with her access to the businesses that are part of the chamber, that she could maybe put
Yeah.
some word out about that somehow.
And I have a meeting with her on Monday, actually.
Perfect.
So that will be a
Yeah,
All right.
you two might be able to come up with something, brainstorming that
Mhm.
she can at least contact them and see feedback on it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool.
All right.
Very cool.
Well, if nothing else, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
A motion?
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Otherwise, we're not adjourning here, folks.
As Aaron never wants us to leave.
Oh.
Fair.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? We are adjourned at 5:47 p.m.
Wow.
5:47 p.m.
Wow.
5:47 p.m.
Wow.
5:47 p.m.
Wow.
5:47 p.m.